at Metropole TVKE across all your social media platforms. My name is Simba Elijah Charles Kiage. This is your official sector trends this morning. Just before I introduce the guest who's going to join us shortly, now the fluctuating fuel prices in the country as recently released by the Energy, Petroleum and Regulatory Authority, EPRA, have hugely impacted on the online delivery market and operating costs. Bolt's food division has, however, seen an innovation gap that they are trying to fill in. Well, this morning, therefore, to discuss this innovation as a strategy to mitigate the impacts of constant fluctuating fuel prices in the country, which will help in stabilizing income for couriers and drivers, we are joined by Edgar. Just realized that we have his wrong last name, who is the Bolt Food Country Manager. Edgar, I'll take this opportunity for you to introduce yourself correctly, therefore.
Yeah, thank you very much, Simba. My name is Edgar Kitur. I'm the country manager for Bolt Food here in Kenya. Looking forward to discussing, food, Bolt Food, e-transport, and what we're trying to do in this market.
Fantastic. All right, Edgar, let's begin on that. First, I'd like to say congratulations on your appointment as the Bolt Food Country Manager. Edgar, what were we likely to see you do different in that specific appointment that you are now running?
I mean, absolutely. I think for me, going to other previous roles I've had, my roles have always been aggressive growth. So operationally, we're going to be efficient. We're going to serve the same type of quality,
pretty much,
that you see in our Bolt ride hailing as well, and transfer that back into the customers as well. So customers have great selection at the moment, and very soon they're going to see very good operational efficiency, which I think the market is lacking at the moment.
I like the way you say that operational efficiency that the market is lacking at the moment, but the growth that we've seen this specific segment undergo, especially as from 2020 up to where we are right now, has that stopped? Have we peaked in terms of the growth in this specific segment?
No, we're barely even scratching the surfaces. We've just introduced food delivery.
Yes.
Very soon we're going to open up groceries as well. I think because of COVID, customers are now used to ordering goods online. So this is definitely the first time consumer. I'd say over the last 12 months, there's been a big spike on online deliveries from us ourselves, but other competition. But looking at the maturity of markets, we're still not a mature market. If you're looking at other countries globally for Bolt Food, we have about 40 countries operating. And looking at how they're in their markets, they're not even touching the surface. So Africa is definitely a couple of stones to be unturned in terms of growth, and also in terms of efficiency, and also in terms of how more we can innovate.
Edgar, other analysts, or I would say people critique this specific segment, I've said that we have concentrated on the major cities in the country as opposed to expanding the services to the other towns that exist in the country as well. Is that an area that you're looking at?
I mean, absolutely. We want to be if you have a Bolt app on your phone and you have a Bolt Food app, we want your services available. So whether you're in Nairobi, Kisumu, Nakuru, Eldoret, let's all the way up to Thika, let's say all the way up to Isiolo, we want you to have the same type of services, enjoy the same type of efficiency. Selection might be a bit limited, but definitely something we're working on. So very soon you will see Bolt at not only in Nairobi or your big cities, but also your rural areas as well.
Pretty much. Edgar, I can't continue this conversation without really going back to exactly where it all started. Would you say that we couldn't be having this conversation here if it were not for COVID in the country? Was COVID an accelerator for you in this specific segment?
I mean, absolutely. I think COVID was a catalyst for a lot of innovations.
Yes.
To say that the growth of food or e-commerce business has been slow is one thing definitely I'd say. And essentially what we do is we try to ease the services. So for example, everybody wants convenience, and just being on several lockdowns, that has also allowed us to enjoy the growth, try new things. Like for example, we've seen other markets do the same thing, whereby lockdown periods. For example, London was on lockdown period for let's say for 1 year. right? These businesses have accelerated, and what we see in other markets tends to translate into African markets, especially for Nairobi. And Nairobi is probably one of the benchmark countries, cities in Africa. We also have Bolt Food in Cape Town and Nigeria and Ghana as well, and they've seen similar type of growth as well in terms of e-commerce business.
Pretty much. All right. Then when we're talking about all this, we have to address an area that is always a talking point, especially in the country, the high cost of fuel. That for any other person who is directly in this business, you got to think about that as well. Then Edgar, you say you are thinking about how to have a solution in this area. All right. Talk to us about this innovation that you think is going to address the high fuel cost in the country.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't think we can say thinking. We have live electric bikes, tuk-tuks, and bicycles on the platform.
Yes.
One thing definitely we look at in terms about if operation efficiency is looking at the courier side. So we definitely seen a spike in fuel prices, which tends to happen across different African markets. So we're not only at African Bolt Food in Africa that's only doing this. We also have the same thing in Cape Town. So what we introduced in the market to take these steps in terms of reducing the fuel cost, because some of our riders are complaining about their earnings and getting they're less likely to predict their earnings based on the fuel costs, right? Generally, in terms of what we saw, a good opportunity there is to introduce the electric segment. So, we have 3 different segments for electric bikes. So we have electric motorcycles, we have electric tuk-tuks, we have electric bicycles, and this definitely stabilized drivers' earnings, but also ease of doing business. And also in addition to that is customers, they really enjoy the the environmental impact. Looking at reducing our carbon footprint as Bolt has been a very key to us globally, and trying to introduce it in the Kenyan market also been a really good opportunity for us to do that. So, from both sides, you're seeing couriers earn more money because they're saving around 70% less than the current fuel cost. Then also in terms of that is you're seeing customers having a very environmentally friendly delivery. So they're also, a bit happy in terms of when they order food, they're a bit more happy in terms of they also are saving the environment as well.
So talk to us about the eventual cost, because yes, indeed, we're talking about the expenditure on exactly anybody who's attached to Bolt services and has this electric capability. Now, yes, your expenditure is going to be less, but the cost, how do I get to own this electric tuk-tuks and bikes?
Yeah, absolutely. So, as you know, we can't do this by ourselves. So we have different partnerships across the market. So we have different companies that we've partnered with that actually come and supply the bikes. Some of our riders choose to purchase the bike outright. Others are paying a daily rate. Others are just, leasing it on a per use basis. So, the different models available, and we want to give riders the option of choosing, because we want to see, which one's the best one in the market to go with long term.
Pretty much. Is somebody going to ask you about the infrastructure for the electric charging in the country? Is that going to be a challenge, Edgar? Especially when you want that to be rolled out on a large scale, if indeed you want more riders to come and take up the service?
Yeah, absolutely. I think scalability is one of the concerns around the electric bike or the EV industry.
Yes.
And it's something that we are trying to address with our partners. So the good thing is we are first to market, and we definitely understand the infrastructure Nairobi pretty well. And as we mature, we'll have more electric vehicle ports across Nairobi. But it's not only for the bicycles and the bikes and the tuk-tuks as well, but also for the vehicles. So we have also seen for the ride-hailing side, we have seen also additional riders choosing to have electric cars as well.
Yes.
Also seeing the benefit of using electricity opposed to fuel.
I like how we're talking about this now. What numbers do you want to achieve, Edgar, before the end of the year? Or when are we going to look back and say you've achieved some of the parameters you wanted to achieve, especially in the adoption of this new innovation?
Yeah, absolutely. I would like 30% of all our deliveries to be electric. To do that, we have to partner with the restaurants. We have to partner also with the couriers, the riders, but also the people actually manufacturing the bike. So, this is a good target for us. I believe it's achievable because, we are growing pretty quickly. And also this having a 30% of all deliveries being electric also gives a great impact in the environment as well. So, we can all, at the end of the year, we all pat ourselves on the back, say, we've done a pretty good job on the EV bike side as well.
Pretty much. All right, let's talk about the adoption rate so far. Is it giving you some hope that there's light at the end of the tunnel? We, as a country, Edgar, have been called laggards, especially when it comes to adopting new things in the economy.
I would actually concur with that. I think definitely the riders are so curious to whenever we have an EV bike, we're doing a small pilot. The riders are so curious to know about the bike, their savings, how it works. Like literally, it's like Christmas Day whenever we have an electric bike. The cool thing about it is also they're the first to the market, so they'll be the cool guys or the cool girls on the block. We have actually have a couple of female riders as well that have electric bikes as well, so they're also trying it out. So who knows? Maybe Simba, next time you have a Bolt food delivery, you'll get a electric bike showing up at your house office.
Hopefully, man. I'm not an electric enthusiast. That is a conversation that we can take online. But now let's talk about the feedback that you expect now in the short term. Are you now saying that you want to scale it up? And what must happen in the short term for you to say that we're going to scale this up to a bigger level, Edgar?
Definitely. I think one way of looking at it is we just need government support as well.
Yes.
In terms of assisting us with the infrastructure as well to scale it up to the levels that we want to do it. I know definitely from the Ministry of Energy, electricity in terms of EV bikes is a big focus area for them, and trying to sync up with them, seeing what we can show them. So far, we're doing in our market. But also adoption needs to come from the riders, and adoption needs to come from the customers, right? You Simba saying that you want to have a delivery that's eco-friendly and that's has a little carbon footprint. We'll dedicate the market, right? You will choose Bolt food over competition because you're going to save the environment as well.
Pretty much. All right, let's therefore come back to this specific segment because we are addressing delivery. Edgar, you said when you compare where we are to the other markets that Bolt is actually present in, you say that there's some sort of efficiency lag. Could you be very specific and actually point that out to anybody who's listening to you this morning?
I mean, everybody's got a delayed order in their life. I think for me, is when the focus is, getting efficient services to the customer as quick as possible. And the focus should be that. I think that's the main focus. Making sure that it's end-to-end service. So you go on the Bolt Food app, you see the restaurants that you like. You order in time, and then from there you're able to get deliveries. At your house or residence or even your office in time.
Yes.
That's what we talk about operation efficiency as well.
Pretty much. So going into EV, is this going to increase your efficiency in that specific segment?
I mean, absolutely. Any innovation around, lowering the cost for riders is going to increase efficiency because, having a lower cost means that the riders are now more motivated to take more orders. But also in terms of that is they also enjoy the work a lot better because they're not stressing about, which petrol station do I go. Fuel, the price of fuel can be, it can vary between different brands as well. And, every week, as we know that, the regulatory prices can change. So just having that uncertainty, having a bit of stability around it.
So we talk about the coronavirus pandemic as being an accelerator to exactly how we've seen delivery services in the country get adopted on a higher scale, especially in a late 2020. It's now 2021. Do we expect there's going to be a shift because we are now learning how to live with COVID-19. I mean, restaurants are getting opened and we do expect that they will continue to get opened and normalcy will come back to us. Do you expect that then indeed we're going to have sort of a lower adoption of these delivery services more than it is getting adopted now, Edgar?
No, actually, no. What we did is actually Bolt Food was actually launched when Uhuru gave the second announcement for lockdown.
Yes.
So, one definitely from our side is we saw the appreciation from restaurants to actually focus on delivery services. So we're seeing, restaurants, your bigger restaurant brands, actually saying, look, let's allocate some revenue towards delivery service because, number one is customers are now used to the convenience of having delivery. But also, we're never meant to replace in dining. You're still going to have your experience in your restaurant as you're going to have with your family and your Sundays if you want. But, when you're talking about the best selection, if you want to have convenience, let's say, for example, you, your wife, your kids want to have different types of food, you're able to do that all in the Bolt Food app. Because, someone might want a chicken, one person wants a burger, another person wants coffee. You don't have that convenience in certain restaurants, or definitely not to the same degree that you'd like to have.
Pretty much. Edgar, thank you very much for taking your time this morning to speak to us here at Metropole Television.
Thank you.
All right,
Thank you,
that
Simba.
is the country manager, Bold Food. We take a short break. Once we come back, your economic review this morning. My name is Simba Elijah Charles Kiangi.